There we go. Recording started. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. If you're watching the replay, I'm Dani, and this is my Tea and Talks series where I connect with people that are specialties in their field. And this evening we have Karlee with us, who's a Reiki master, yoga practitioner. What have I missed?
Yeah. That's pretty much my title. Yeah, in a nutshell.
Yeah. And mum.
And mum. Yes.
Yeah. Another a hat that you wear.
That's right. Yes, and I just was saying I've just popped her to bed, so I'm in my bedroom, so I don't make too much noise. So apologies for the dark lighting, the mood lighting.
All good. So, I guess a little bit of backstory is that quite a while ago, Karlee and I met when I was teaching at a local South Australian high school, and was part of the dance program there, and was also part of a cohort that actually put a bump in the statistics. The group that you went through with across the board, not just in dance, but your year, were like this outstanding group of people. What are your memories of that time?
Oh yeah, I have really fond memories of my high school years and the group and the girls that we all grew up through that high school kind of era and are still friends today. And you just have people talk about high school and I'm like, I loved it all. I loved, obviously it was a big part of the performing arts at that school, and that made a huge, I think, difference and impact on how I perceived schooling at that time. But also loved the whole experience of it, which I'm very grateful for. I'm grateful for the group that we did, like you said, move through with, and are still friends now, which is, I think next year would be 20 years since we graduated.
I was trying to work out how long ago it was, and I was thinking, no, I know that when you say how long ago it was, I'm going to be shocked, but that would be correct because I have an 18-year-old and I was working there a few years before I got pregnant with him. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
crazy. It doesn't feel like that for me either. Like I'm like still go. I'm like, yeah, it's only like maybe 10 years ago. Like 20 years. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. And how beautiful. I think I don't know. Do you think that's rare to stay friends with, and not just one friend from high school? Like, you guys are a gang.
Yeah. And I feel like it is rare. Like even like in reflection of my siblings or even clients that come through, friends that I've met past that. Like there's not many that have that closer group in a group form from school. And like we were just in a group chat last week organizing our like annual Christmas catch up, and we're like, do we do just a girls thing, or do we do now it's like families, like a family catch up with all our families together, because there's too many of us to kind of always make that happen. But we're making it happen. I think all but maybe one or two can make it, so it's just it's amazing. Crazy. And I just don't think it's very common that you can all be, and we have all grown in our own ways and are all different and different paths from school, but have such respect for each other. I think that it's an understanding of each other, that it's just it doesn't divide as well. It's very special.
Yeah. And I thought I'd share with you, I remember I have this very vivid memory of, at that time, I had done a lot of spiritual, I guess, reading and some clairvoyant mentorship when I was in Queensland before I moved back to Adelaide. But I kept that stuff very close to my heart. I didn't really share it, especially in the school setting. Yes. And I had this CD, and it was an Angels CD. And I remember one of the girls was like, oh my God, look at this, miss, you've got an Angel CD. You should be friends with Karlee's mum. Karlee's mum is into all of this. And I was like, oh, and I just remember that just giving me just permission actually to kind of be a bit more myself and allow that aspect of myself. And actually from that point on, I started to create pieces of choreography that were around maybe a bit more spiritual stuff. And so thanks to your beautiful mum for just unlocking that little door for me.
And being like, oh yeah, there are others in here that are kind of like that. And I like, as a teacher, we talk about, when we talk about schooling, like your name always pops up about a teacher that has made like a great impact on us. And I do feel there was such a spiritual element in that connection, and obviously through dance and that movement, but just you holding space for us in that way, it was you could tell it came from a different place or a different perspective than a lot of other teachers that we may have crossed over at that time as well. So it
was a very interesting time to juggle all the different energies, and it taught me to be quite strong in myself. I grew a lot in that time, and I'm very grateful for that time also, because I've been able to draw on some of the strengths that I learned from other people that I was working with at that time as well. But I'm in a whole different place with that now. I don't hide any of that aspect of myself now. And I guess that comes with age as well.
And it's beautiful to see that though, and just still, obviously we stayed in contact in some way through that time, and see that growth and evolution. And it's also been quite an inspiration to myself through that period of time, because obviously, as you've already mentioned, my mum, I grew up quite spiritually aware, I guess, but still my pathway has led me in like career and different things that I've done to, like you've said, kind of block it away a little bit or just hide it a little bit in certain places, but then you get to a point where you just can't anymore, and it's just not worth it. And just seeing other people move through that as well with that wisdom, you go, okay, I can do that too. So it's been very inspirational as well, so thank you.
And your journey the same, to be able to at times where I was like opening up my own space, and you were just starting to hit your straps of you were traveling, you were grabbing the online space, you were doing all those really exciting things. It was just fantastic to see you do those. Do you want to talk a little bit about maybe your journey and how you've come to learn the modalities that you have? And
all right, where do I start? So I, in a short and formed, I guess, I left school, did the uni thing. Well, actually, I did a year break. Then I went to uni and I studied a double degree in business management and commerce, specializing in accounting. Right? I know.
Sorry, everyone, but
like what?
That's awesome. I'm sure it's handy. I'm sure
it has been. It has been, and it's definitely. I can definitely see the pieces now. But I've always been, though I've been quite, into the performing arts side of things. I've also always did the math subjects and the accounting subjects. So I had that kind of. And I did well at them. So I was like, okay, I might as well follow this. It's what you do at uni, right? And so I did that, and then I landed. Through all that, I manifested what I wanted. I'm like, okay, cool. There's 2 firms that I want to work in a specialized industry. So I really wanted to get into insolvency. So this gets really even more crazy. So I wanted to work with businesses that were struggling or closing down, to restructure, work with staff, things like that. So I was like, okay, there's 2 firms I want to work with, manifested, got the job in the one that I wanted. Through interviews and whatever. I actually then worked for them for 6 years while studying my chartered accounting. So I did another whole 3 years chartered accounting and another kind of study in insolvency as well. So when I say this now to people that don't know beyond the spiritual Karlee, they're kind of like, whoa, like that's like a whole nother you. I'm like, yes. It was.
Yeah.
And then in the space of in the insolvency world and in the corporate world, I was really inspired to be, you know, women in business and bringing that kind of feminine energy to a very masculine dominated industry firm or whatnot. But I people would come to me even in the company I worked for, you know, for advice or for that intuitive insight, or I was the one that had, you know, the little affirmation cards on my desk and the plant and the crystals and the things. So I was always a little bit different, but I was so like shut, like, yeah, kept it tight as well. But there's some things you can't really, I guess, completely hide as well. So I did all that, and then I worked my way up through, you know, the promotions. I was assistant manager at this firm, and I just went, this isn't for me anymore. I was enjoying it. I didn't hate it at all. I was enjoying it. There was you know, kind of the company had lined up how they would see me progress through the firm, but my heart just wasn't in it anymore. It just wasn't aligning. I felt really torn at this point. I hit my kind of Saturn return era. And so if anyone doesn't know that, it's when you can go through a really big life change from about age 27 to 30. So it's like a big kind of things happen in that age frame, right? And so then at home, things started to change, and my husband's work started to change, and we decided to travel Australia for a year. And so I wasn't convinced that I wasn't coming back, even though deep down I knew I wasn't. So I took a year of absence from my role at that time.
Yeah.
And in that period, I went year of absence, became a Reiki master, did my yoga teacher training. Like, I went deep dive into spiritual learning. I didn't hold back. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it properly. We were traveling while I was teaching yoga and doing Reiki as well. So I just threw myself into it. Took a while to let go of the identity of being an accountant or an insolvency practitioner. So I really had to work on that language for myself. But then, a year passed, and now 7 years have passed and I'm still not back there. So I don't see myself doing that either. I still do a little bit of business mentor on the side here and there in my own time for some businesses. But my everything else just took off, and I just went with it and rolled with it, and it felt right. Yeah.
And do you work with your mum now a bit as well?
Yeah, so mum and I do. So mum trained me. So mum became a Reiki master probably about 2 years before I did. So then Reiki, I say Reiki always finds you when you need it.
Yeah.
When you're ready, or maybe when you don't think you're ready, but you are. But Reiki found mum first, and then through mum, Reiki found me. And it was at that time of big career change, big life decisions, and it really supported me through that. But I did my training all through mum, which was amazing, and it was such a beautiful way to be introduced to this modality. And then mum and I now do retreats together here and there, and definitely if I can't fit a client in, mum will fit the client in. So we kind of work together in that aspect as well, and definitely just support each other business wise, because we just think the same as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's so lovely to be able to share that with your mum.
Yeah. Very special. Yeah, very special. Mm-hmm.
Oh. And in terms of Reiki, and I don't know whether you know, but I'm a pranic healer, or I was trained as a pranic healer, which is similar to Reiki from what I can gather. But for people who are just discovering, and we have so many people that are starting to deep dive and start to understand that there is more to the world than what they can see with their eyes.
Yes.
People are having big epiphanies, big wake up calls, and I'm seeing more and more people come into my yoga classes that are like wanting to heal their bodies, not just from a physical point of view. But I mean, 5 years ago, people weren't saying, I really want to learn about energy and how emotions are trapped in my body. People are coming to me now. I'm like, wow, this is a conversation that we would save for a while, because that would scare people off 5 years ago. But people now are starting to really understand that all of these aspects of our healing are all connected, and to get, I guess, clarity and healing, we've got to look at all of them together. They're all important. So for a question, like, what would you say, what are some of the key principles that Reiki's taught you that could be transferred into our everyday lives that could help people? What's something that you think is, a foundational principle?
Yeah, well, just on that, I completely agree that there's been a shift in, since I started from 8 years almost to now, the different conversations that come up like earlier for people, or just more common now, that conversation where before I would say Reiki or energy work and people would look at me a bit like, oh, what is that? Or just a bit unsure about what I'm all about. But now it's like, you do what? And it's like straight in, let's deep dive straight away. Like there's a whole collective shift into understanding that there's more than just our physical self. And this is like there's a deep, deep soul message coming through that people want to hold on to and learn more about. And even my clients that I've been seeing regularly over that whole time, like their sessions have up leveled to a whole another portal that we're just exploring and touching into, and there's no limit to it. And it's really, and I even feel it myself, like when I'm working through stuff that I'm going through, it's deeper than it's been before. And so I totally agree with what you're saying, and resonates completely. But on the question, so Reiki personally for me, I feel that, and I say this to some clients as well, it kind of, Reiki gives you, it's this energy that moves through your body, right? So it helps to balance the blocked energies, past traumas, past life traumas, stresses, illness, disease. But it also just brings this, I say it's like this extra millisecond, this extra breath before the reaction or before the emotion. It's this extra time, and it can be such a tiny portion of time that just shifts your whole perspective of things or how you might react. And that then snowballs back to what happens next, or snowballs out to what happens next. And it just changes, the whole dynamic of maybe your relationships, or how you make decisions, or how you show up into your day when things maybe don't go to plan, or when things upset you. It's or there's challenges that you face. There's this extra energy that's Reiki, that's working through your body, that comes from this universal life force energy that is Reiki.
Yeah. And it's funny, we talk about universal life force, and that brings me to remember, so before I was teaching at your school, and I was teaching in Queensland schools, I was doing some meditation. And this is probably what got me really scared, but I was doing meditation. It wasn't even meditation, actually. It was relaxation. So it was like basically just like squeeze and relax and bring colours and stuff through, because I had this some really quite traumatized kids. And somebody said something to one of the deputies who was a devout Jehovah Witness or Assemblies of God, I'm not sure. And he came flying into the room and just tore strips off me. This is not going to happen. You're not doing this with these kids, like the work of the devil and all this stuff. And I was just, I was like fresh out of uni. I was really young, and it was really full on. But that, when I'm talking about universal energy, and I'm assuming that you agree, I talk about that. It's whatever that is for you. So for some people, that's God. For some people, it's energy. For some people, it's love, source. But we're just talking about tapping into that connective energy that connects us all, and that we are all from.
Yeah, and oneness, like it's coming together as oneness, whether that's mind, body, soul, bringing it all together. Like there's this whole level of connection, or like you said, to your source. It's bringing it all together, so we're not separating them into pieces. They all collaborate together.
And I guess at that time that was so shocking to me, because there was this separateness that he was, through his filter and how he was seeing the world, that was a very separate thing. And I was really I didn't have the words at that time to be able to express myself, to be able to say that. No, and he probably wouldn't have listened anyway.
No.
But it's all about, it's our filters, and it's our culture, it's our era, it's all of those things that we have. But really, for me, I see it as the same thing. You know, if you look at all the Indian deities and all the different gods that they have, I just see that as a construct, and also there's lots of history and things in there as well. But it's one filter, and then another part of the world, there's another filter that they have that is really, at the end of the day, the same stuff.
Yeah, well, every culture has their understanding of energy or energetics in the body, or how the energy plays a part in ourselves. They might label them different things, like we talk in Reiki, it's Ray. In we talk about prana, and then you talk about chi. Like, there's so many different ways, and there's slightly different maybe definitions if you go formally, but there's this common understanding that there's more, there's energy, there's something else that brings us all together.
Yeah, lovely.
Yes.
And do you find, as a practitioner, that you also benefit from being a practitioner with the energy and working with people?
Yeah, absolutely. And with Reiki, it's limitless. So I can ask for a healing myself while giving the healing. So it doesn't take away from what I'm giving. It doesn't pull my attention away. It's limitless. I'm the vessel for that energy, and so I receive and give at the same time. And so I'm always having these healings by giving as well. So it's as a practitioner, that's one level of it. But also, I find it's funny how the universe works. I'll have like clients that will come to me, and sometimes there'll be a common thread or a common theme, even though they're completely different, not connected, don't know each other, but there's this common theme, a common thread. And then if I pull it back a little bit, I can see where there's a reflection in me for that learning and that lesson as well. And so it's just this whole, again, connection thing that's come through, that all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this is a theme. Hang on a second. This is something that's mirroring in me as well, that I need to address, that I need to learn. So it's always a beautiful way to reflect and learn as you're giving that energy out as well.
I find that too, even with yoga. And people would say to me, oh, are you tired, is it draining? And I say, never have I felt drained after a yoga session, or even giving a healing session. I always feel uplifted. I always feel fuller than when I left, and my heart feels more open, and I feel gratitude.
Yes. And even if you go in tired, you leave with this new sense of like, oh, that's exactly what I needed. Funny that.
And my night classes, I have to be careful that I don't activate myself too much, because I come home at 8:30 at night and I'm like, oh, right, I can, clean the house and do some work on my business. And
I remember those when I was teaching yoga pre-motherhood, and I was doing the late classes. Where I was teaching was still a 40-minute drive home afterwards. I'd do like a day and then I'd finish late. And so that 40-minute drive home, I'd be my wind down time. Otherwise I'd get home and I'd be like, so I'm like, just wind back down. Even though you've been teaching yoga, my last class was a yin class. So it was like everyone, but I still had this full energy that I was, you're holding space for everyone. And it is, okay, I got 40 minutes to wind down so I can go to bed. Yeah.
Magic.
Yeah.
And tell me about how motherhood and your connection to spirit and your connection to understanding the world through that energetic lens, how has that been for you?
Yeah, that's a big question. What am I in? I'm almost 3 years into motherhood. So it's definitely, early time still. But I have found probably the last 6 months, or the first 2.5 years, I was, you're just you're in this bubble, you're in this zone, you're so much learning, so much unlearning. I feel like that was the biggest thing, actually, unlearning everything that I thought I knew. And my little Sagittarius manifesting generator, she definitely is here to teach me a thing or two for sure. And it's been absolutely magical in that way, in that sense. That I feel that it's through motherhood, it has taught me to really hone in and trust that intuition and that gut feeling more than I ever did before, even though it was something that was really strong for me. It's just that sense of knowing and knowing her as a soul as well, and our soul's journey in our life together, just really trusting that as well has been and blocking out a lot of external noise has been a big lesson for me. Definitely. But I do feel that even if I reflect on Reiki as such, and yoga practice like that coming back to self, that coming back to me, coming back to my energy and what I need to feel that I can show up as the mum that I want to be. Like they haven't left my side, Reiki and yoga, through pregnancy and even birth, and then beyond the healing, it was Reiki, yoga, meditation that comes with all of that as under that banner as well, was a huge part. And I really wanted for my daughter Regan to see that side of me from an early age, to be normal in her life. And it is. She comes in, even this afternoon, she goes, "Can I fix your belly, Mum?" Nothing was physically wrong with my belly that I knew of. I'm like, "Sure, darling." And she loves me. I lay down, she gets the oils out, she puts oils on my belly, she does her little chakra Reiki symbol and gives me Reiki. She tells me to breathe in and out, Mummy, and then tells me when to stretch. And it's just so normal for her. And I think just as such a young age, it's just by leading by example. And what example do I want to be for her?
Oh, that's beautiful. And it's funny that watching your journey at the same thing at the time when I was making decisions about how I was going to parent and how I was going to birth, and it was so fantastic to see. So Isaac was born 2006, and I decided that I was going to have a home birth with him. And I didn't tell many people about that because that was just so...
I bet back then as well, like it's not even that long ago, but yeah, it would have been.
They're like, "What?" Except for my husband's grandmother, who was like, "Well, that's totally fine because that's what we used to do back in the day anyway." All the babies were born at home.
Love that.
Thank goodness for her.
Yes.
But it was just so great to see this wave of a lot of you standing up and saying, "Actually, I'm gonna choose something that is not what the collective is telling me should be my first choice, but is what my heart and soul is leading me towards." And I think that those decisions are never easy, whether it's that or a health choice or a job change or a partner, whatever it is, they're not easy when everybody else is going in one direction and you're swimming in the other direction quite happily, thinking, "I'm pretty sure I feel good about this." I'm pretty sure. And then afterwards, I don't know about you, but for me, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. I think definitely if I hadn't have had a home birth, I would have ended up with a cesarean because my births were so long. I just think a lot. I was in my head a lot, especially that first birth. And I cut all my times down as I got, like it was like a sport. Got better at it each time.
Do you do all three from home?
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Love that.
Yeah. I really wanted to have a water birth, and we had the pool filled, and I tried. Every time I got in water, it slowed everything down. So I had to just keep my feet on the ground and,
We're same. I asked Regan where she was born, and she says on the lounge room floor. I'm like, "Yep, that's where you are." We started in the pool as well, but my birth was actually really quick. In terms, I think it was from first contraction to her out was about 5 hours, so it was pretty. It sped up really quick, but in the pool, she wasn't dropping down. I was in active labor for 2 hours in the pool, which if I was in hospital, we wouldn't have been able to do that. And my lovely midwife was like, I think we just need some gravity, so you just need to get out to drop her in a bit. And I got out, and she was like, yeah, here. The pool just was too buoyant for her. So
too buoyant.
So
Yeah.
I went,
Yeah.
and as soon
So
as
there
I
you
got
go.
out, she was like, she engaged, and she was like, I'm ready. So I feel like if I was out of the pool, it probably would have happened even quicker.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, all good timing. But yes, it was a beautiful, magical experience, and it's something that I just knew. And this is where I come back to big life decisions. When you make big life decisions, I feel when you're so certain of the ones that you are making, to remember that feeling when you come to the ones where you're at crossroads with, because I was so certain from before I got pregnant that I was going to home birth. At that point, I hadn't even looked into anything. I was like, I'm going to birth at home. Like, it's not even an option. Like, that's just what I'm going to do. And it was something that I was so certain through before pregnancy, through pregnancy. Like, it never shifted out of my mind that that's not what we would be doing. So when decisions have come, even prior to that, but since that, I come back to that feeling of that certainty, or that fire that I get, or the drive, or the intuitive download that I'm like, okay, no, this is, maybe it doesn't make sense for everyone, maybe it doesn't even make sense to me right now, but the feeling's there. And then I go, okay, how can I make this feel more comfortable, or how can I make this happen? Because the feeling's there. Yeah,
that's a great tip. It reminds me of, if you've ever done that meditation practice where you drop into a time or place where you might have felt complete love and happiness, and you drop into that feeling and you remember how that feeling was, when you felt unconditional love, and then you allow that feeling to grow and to sort of envelope your whole being, and let go of the memory, but allow the energetics of that to stay with you. And wouldn't that be a great practice to strengthen your understanding of when that decision is right for you or not right for you? Is to sort of sit in that place, like you said, remember how that felt in your body, to know, just have that bang, knowing in the center of your core, I know this is what I'm choosing. Connect with that, go back to that memory, connect and expand that. And then every time you get to a decision, you can come back to that and go, is that sitting in that place for me or not? For me, I always get like a little in my stomach. If something's like not right, I get sort of like a little twist. And it feels contractive. Like when I'm making a decision that's good for me and good for others, and it feels like it's in flow, it feels expansive. It feels like a no-brainer. It's just like a yes. You know that saying, everyone's saying, the hell yes. The hell yes.
And
it's just like
even like, I even say this about when I kind of teach manifestation, it's the same theory. Some people go, but I don't know what I want to manifest, or I'm scared, I'm frightened as to what's the potential of manifesting. What if I manifest the wrong thing? And I always come back to, well, you don't have to have it all figured out. Why don't we start with a feeling? Like, what do you want to feel? What do you want to feel more of? What feeling do you want to manifest? And then we start with the feeling, and we say, hey, universe, give me more of this feeling, show me more of this feeling. And then we build on that, and then that will present to you in different ways. And then it may become with a vision and an action, or a opportunity that you go, okay, this is where I've started my manifesting from a feeling.
And we are not taught this. So our brain literally has to rewire and start to grow neural pathways for that. And that, I think that's that feeling people have, is that lost feeling of, what are you actually talking about? Because this has never been something that we've done.
No.
It will be, and it will be little Regan's normal. You know, as you said, she's already manifesting. It will be her normal. The next generation coming through will watch them and just go, oh my gosh, watch them go. Watch them go.
No, I see that, and I see that with like her friends, and I guess my circle of friends as well. Like, I'm like, oh, these kids have got it. They've got at least a good head start to then take that and expand on that.
Oh, I can't I could just imagine what they will be like in places of authority and how they will deal. Some teachers handle their authority in a heart space, and some people don't. And those kids are just going to, oh no, they just be like, no, I don't think so. I don't think we'll be doing.
Regan, that's totally Regan all over.
That doesn't really align with me.
Yeah,
I'd probably just go over here and do this.
She's like, no, thanks, Mummy. I'm like, it's not really an option at the moment, but okay, good manners.
Oh, I can remember doing a lot of that with my eldest. Would you? They told me, I can't remember, some book or something I read, is just to give them two options. He always had to have choice, but it's the two things that you choose. Like, do you want the red flannel for your bath or the blue flannel?
Yeah.
And I remember him saying, I don't like your choices. I don't like these options.
No, she's like, neither of them. I'm like, okay. She's like, either the red or the green. She's like, or the purple. I'm like, that wasn't a choice, but you made a decision, okay?
I think that no spiritual book, no retreat, nothing can crack you open like your own children to make you look at your awareness, at your heart, at your programming, at the stuff that you're attached to. Like, it's just, and there are lots of ways to learn about yourself. And I'm not saying that all people have to have children to be spiritually enlightened.
No.
I'm not even saying that I'm spiritually enlightened. I'm just saying that that was a huge time for me personally. I remember just thinking, oh man,
every day, like, she teaches me something, or just the layers of patience, or the, like you said, the blocking out, the conditioning or the expectations, and you just you see things a lot differently, or just the way I choose to speak, or we, like, as parents, choose to speak with her. It's a constant kind of process in the mind and way we show up, and then noticing then how she is in other places with other people, and that you can't control all of her influences, is also a tough one as well. But you want her to have the variety, because you can't be there with them all the time. But then you kind of go, the first 7 years of their life is like the most important for their development and their safety, and it's when your root chakra finds its foundation and its safety. So it's so important. But who's in their lives and how they interact with them is something that at the moment, I guess, is something I'm working through, and how I want and who we want in her life. It's a challenge.
And I think coming through that, I have an 18-year-old now. Standing back a little bit now, obviously I'm a lot further down the track, and then going, well, my children have soul contracts with people that they have to learn the lessons that they've come here to learn. And it is it's tricky. It's finding the balance of supportiveness and being there, but then also allowing them to be themselves, because I definitely felt that whenever that one of them landed here, they were their own person from day one. They were all their own souls with their own purpose and mission and agendas.
They are. I was actually thinking that today. Regan was talking to me about something, and I remember I just had like a flashback to like newborn days, and being like, just looking at it, being like, I know I can feel our connection. I know I've known you, but who are you in this lifetime? Like, I need to, like, trying to learn who she was, and like together who we are in this. What's our relationship? What's our dynamic in this lifetime? Like, what's your soul in this lifetime? And I feel now she's evolved into this little 3-year-old person, almost 3-year-old person. I'm like, okay, I feel like I know who you are now, and like excited to see where she grows. But she's definitely in her own little soul person, definitely her own. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when.
Say, well, we had that contract, like we picked to be in each other's lives at this time, which I always remind myself of as well. Like, no, this is our journey. This is what we both chose, and how we're going to navigate it together.
Yeah, and she's going to push and pull. I was just remembering Isaac, my eldest, when he was little in the car. I was asking him to do something, and he's always been like such a strong character. And he said, I asked him to do something, and he said no. And I said, well, that's either I'm your mummy, and that's what I'm asking you to do. You need to listen to me. And he said, well, last time we were here, I was your mum, and I told you what to do.
There you go.
And I said, well, that was last time. Now I'm the mummy. You have to listen to me.
Oh, I love that.
I really wasn't happy about that at all.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love that. That's their own little moments of things that come back through.
Yeah.
Even talking about. Oh, sorry, you go. Finish.
I was just saying that concept of us traveling in soul groups. And coming back in different variations to learn different things from one another in different dynamics. It makes sense.
Going, it does. And I was birthed her, and I was like, oh, hey, like I know our souls are so like, yep, this is us. And then I'm like, but now we need to understand how we work in this lifetime together. Like find our feet here. Yeah. It is special. But even like spiritually and spirits, I think you mentioned something before. I've always grown up with a connection to spirit, and often they like I'd see them and I'd talk, and it's a whole other conversation. But Regan, from a young, she was walking, so she must have been just over 1, and she was a few times within like a close time of each other, she'd stand in a spot and like just wave to like no one and nothing, and but being like real like enthusiastic, not just like I'm practicing my waving, like hi, I'm like hi, like into a corner of the house or whatever, and I just encourage it, and I just let her go, and then she got a few words in, and I said, who were you waving to, or who? And she said, the man and the lady, mummy. I said, oh, okay. What were they wearing? They had white on. I said, oh yeah. Where were they standing? Over there. Like, she was very like, yeah, that's people I can see, and that's fine. And what are you talking about? Like, it's all good. Like, she wasn't shy by them, which she comes across shy when you first meet her. So these were like really familiar spirits to her. And then there was a few times that she'd like she'd be laying on the floor, we'd be playing or changing a nappy or whatever, and she'd like really laugh or really stare up in towards her fan, and I'd say, who's there, Bubba? And she's like, Dana. I'm like, oh, Dana, okay. And she's like, Dana's there, Mum. And then she'd talk about this spirit being, her friend being Dana, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's your soul guide, that's your spirit guide, like she's here to keep you safe. And even now she doesn't talk about her much at all anymore, but every now and again it'll pop up, Dana, and Dana's your spirit friend, and she's like, yeah. And so just trying to keep that a normal thing, like you don't like, as kids have that awareness, but to keep it so it stays open is such a challenge in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. How beautiful. I can't wait to see the journey of Regan and watch how she grows and evolves, and if she's anything like the relationship you have with your mum, how closely connected you guys are. I could just see that connection of the three of you very strongly.
Yeah, it's definitely a goal. Definitely a goal, and she's very close to my mum as well, which is nice. And just letting her, carve her own path, but have those foundations around her, and that support will be very very special. And even so, in Reiki, there's this particularly 5 principles of Reiki, and I've just started like talking about them in general terms to her. And they're very simple ones. Like it starts, or each of them start with the concept like just for today, and it's like an opportunity to start somewhere, just for today. And then it's like, I will not worry, I will not be angry, I'll be grateful, I'll do my work honestly, I'll be kind to every living thing. It's just a very simple 5 principles, but kind of weaving that into her life to be something that she can call upon and becomes her subconscious like thoughts as well. It's something that I'm starting to focus on a little bit as well, because it's something that I carry through each day. So it's nice to be able to share that with her.
Lovely. And I think, I don't know if it will be Regan's journey, but I know with my boys, I feel like I worked really hard on the foundation, and now I'm sort of standing back a little bit, and I'm just hoping that foundation, they'll come back around to that.
Yes.
And I see glimpses of that. And sometimes when I get a bit like, oh my goodness, they have too much screen, or they're eating junk food, or I have things that come up where people who see them in different settings will say, oh, like we were in the airport when we were coming back from our trip, and it was a big hoo-ha that we'd gotten, our flight had been cancelled. And then when we got off in Melbourne, people in Bali hadn't told the Virgin staff that we needed accommodation. So there's 100 of us sort of all standing in the departures lounge with no Virgin staff whatsoever. People just like, we were like an angry mob. And Jet must have helped. He helped this lady. And she just came over to me and she just said, I just want to let you know that your boy is just an absolute beautiful human being. Thank you so much. She goes, I was just about to cry and he just helped me. And he's amazing. I was like, oh, great. So, you have these moments where you're like, okay, I can get a bit hard on them maybe sometimes. But
the foundation's there. Yeah, that's beautiful.
I hope so.
Yeah, I see that even now at this age, I'm like, whoa, like that's some big emotions you got there, doll. And then the next breath, I'm like, okay, there's the foundation. There's like 1 minute she'll throw an apple across the room, and then the next breath she's like getting a cloth and cleaning it up and putting it in the compost bin because she knows it goes in the compost bin, like little things like that. And I'm like, okay, we'll work on the throwing part, but the base was there. I'm hoping that just grows with time.
There you go. You're doing well. You're doing awesome. Yeah. So moving forward, what's up for you next, and what things are you? What's coming up for you?
I feel like I just stepped into, like I said, the 2.5, the last 6 months, even the last 3 months. I'm like, okay, I feel a little bit more in flow. I feel, I don't know, she's a bit more older. We've got this shift in, I don't know whether it happens in mums around that time, but I'm just like, okay, where am I in this? What am I missing? I literally, just a random side note, I just rejoined the gym after 3 years, and it's just something that I felt like I didn't need up until then, and I was like, I'm really missing that. I'm really missing that component of myself, and so that was just the first step. And from that, it's only been like a week that I've been there, but it feels like, okay, cool, this is something that I needed. And that was that feeling of like, I need to do something, and it happened so quickly. It was like, yep, this is what I need. I need to join the gym. That's what this feeling is. There was a special on the end of that night, the same decision day that I made the decision and I joined. And so I'm really much on that, like there was a pull, there was an urge, I made the decision. And so then from that, I feel now like I'm expanding into where do I want to spend my time when I'm away from Regan? Like, is that with my Reiki clients? Is that with my courses? Is it with retreats? Is it with yoga? How do I want to show up in a work sense? But also knowing that I am also loving, and I'm grateful that I have the opportunity that I can work from home and be from home, and with my husband's work, like Regan doesn't have to go into care or anything. I can be there for her. So I'm really trying to maybe step back from some of that society expectations, and happy being at home more, and I'm making sourdough and I'm making things from scratch, and we just did our veggie garden up, and like Regan and I did it, like it was just my husband's working, so I'm trying to really just enjoy this phase of being home and being mum first, and not feel the pressure to have to serve anything or anyone else, but then at the same time honoring that there is that inner deep calling that I do want to show up in a way to people, and just really setting my boundaries as to what I say yes to and how I do that. We've got another place on the Eyre Peninsula as well, so in Adelaide at the moment, and we've also got another place that we go and share our time between, and so we're looking at maybe spending more time there in the next couple of years, in a year or two, and just having that kind of slow life a bit that we do, and just really owning that, but not feeling like I have to do anything at the same time. But yeah, I don't know is the answer what I'm doing, but I'm open to it, and I feel like I'm in a place where I'm making those decisions now, and feeling into that more. And if I see 10 clients a month or I see 20, like, I'm not putting that pressure on myself to do more or do less. It's just how it all falls together, and I feel that's how I make my decisions, and it serves me.
And I think, just probably circling right back to where we started, was that connecting with that feminine intuition and the feminine flow is a lot more supportive than pushing into the masculine and the drive and that's really the way that our world works, and we're programmed to do that. But I'm also similar in the fact that I'm learning to compartmentalize a little bit and go, right, that's my work stuff and that finishes there. And listening to my intuition. So there's a time for go, and there's a time for creating, and then there's a time for slow and time for listening. And I think I'd always been taught just like go, 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 go. And it's just sort of like a burn, just a slow burn through everything with no boundaries. And if I find that's my time for rest, and this is my time for work now, and this is my time for family now, and if I really kind of design those in a bit more clearer, it's a lot better for me. I think that's more of a feminine, still planning in a way, but listening to when I need to just pull back and be okay with that.
And that can all happen within the same hour. You can be go, 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 and then you're like, yeah, I just hit my mark. This is where I'm going to slow down now. Like, I need to push, and and creating that lifestyle that allows you to do that.
Yeah. And just that thing, if you only taught our children one thing, imagine the impact that could have on generations of their own health, which is to listen to my body. When my body says slow down, stop, slow down, rest, slow down, stop eating, slow down, listen, all of those things. Just that one thing, that would make a huge impact.
I think they teach us that. Regan teaches me that. I feel like she teaches me that at the moment. Like, she'll be like, she said today, Mummy, can I fix your belly? And I'm like, I just wanted to vacuum the house. And she's like, now, Mummy, now. And I'm like, okay, all right, okay. So I laid down on the floor, and I was like, oh, okay, this is exactly what I needed. I actually just needed to lay on the floor. And I just let her do a little pottering around me. I just did my breath, and it was like my little 5-10 minutes of meditation, that she was still like talking to me and doing things and climbing over me. But I was like, oh, she actually made me stop then, when I really should have listened to. That's what I needed,
Yeah. And I
the
think
vacuuming happened after.
And your ability to go, I surrender, and I'll surrender to this moment, I think is really important, because people think meditation and yoga has to be you in your lycra on a hilltop somewhere or in a completely quiet place. And the fact is that if you wait for that, especially during motherhood where you have children and things, it will never happen. Unless you have some amazing support system where somebody can take your child and they're happy to go, it won't happen. It has to happen in those seconds where there is a second and you just drop to the floor in your pajamas with your top knot and do it there, because and that is yoga. That is being in that time and space, isn't it?
And that's what I said earlier, how Reiki and yoga have come with me through all of this. And that's exactly right. It's probably up till now, 90% of my yoga and meditation practice has been with either a baby breastfeeding or a toddler climbing over me, or like at the moment, I'm like, I could have laid there and ticked over my head the seconds to be like, I've got to go and do this, this, and this, and this is on my to-do list, and I still got to get dinner ready, and it's 4:30, and I wanted to vacuum an hour ago. And I went, okay, and I stopped and I let that all go, and that comes from practice, and that comes from just allowing and going, okay, that'll all be there when I finish. But if this is my only opportunity today to connect into my breath, and I just did 4 counts in, 6 counts out, so just slowing down my exhale, and I did that multiple times while she was in and out and doing things, and it was broken, but I was like, cool, that was something for me that I wouldn't have done otherwise. And it changed my whole, and I got up and we actually vacuumed together, and it was, everything just seemed to be a lot more smooth and less forced. And yes, and that was from Regan's lesson to me at that time. Yeah.
Regan's reset.
Yeah. She's very persistent, so
submit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say I could keep talking for hours.
I know.
It has been so lovely to connect with you, and all the best with your journey, and with little Regan, and thank you for sharing your wisdom and your insights, and it's lovely.
Yeah. Thank you. Likewise, it was lovely to chat as always, and we'll have to do it again soon, because I'm sure there's plenty more as this journey progresses. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if people want to connect with you, what's your socials?
Just Karlee Imogen, so on Instagram mostly, but also I've got a Facebook page as well, business page, so you just reach out through there.
Great. Okay. Lots of love. Say hi to your mum for me.
I will do. Thanks, Dani.
Okay. See ya. Bye.
Yeah, bye.